Hi, welcome. My name is Ak.
And I'm Mary.
I'm Moses.
And this is the Tempered Youth Collective. This is a space where young people are going to learn how to build change without losing themselves in the process. In a world that rewards noise, we are exploring what it means to be intentional, emotionally grounded in season of change, and how to strategically build the society without necessarily reacting.
So, actually, for the voices of the young and for steady and better thinking, this podcast is there to help you move with purpose, guidance, and to help you stay strong in faith.
TYC is a lot more than just being youth. It's the pressure and the growth, the struggles that we go through, discipline, learning, and being shaped by life. Each episode sits at the intersection of leadership,
Growth,
identity,
purpose.
Yeah, we are being shaped by the community, by the discipline, and
Anyway, but actually, precisely what we mentioned, Majo, we're dealing with the youth, the voices, the strong belief that we're having here, and proper guidance. Like the voices that we're listening, that are shouting from outside, keeping them calm and keeping settled. So, precisely, before we telling people about a particular podcast, let's get to ourselves as we people in this podcast. We've just introduced ourselves as the people in the podcast, the names. Let's talk about what we do here at this college, a career, besides and beyond our courses. Who are you beyond your course, and what defines you as a person?
Okay, that's a very important question. So, who am I beyond my name and my course? Well, I would say I'm a strategic individual. I'm very strategic. Personally, I like structuring my life. So if there is one word I would use to describe myself, it would be strategic.
Okay.
Yeah.
well, who am I? I would love to differ from the academic structure. You have to structure yourself, the career person you have to be, the professional person you have to be. I'm Maria, that's my name, and I'm a person who loves traveling. Let me start with what I love. I love traveling. I love the nature.
Okay.
The beauty of nature brings out peace in me.
Okay.
It gives a whole different vibe that I really can't explain enough. I love my peace. I love respect, like respecting boundaries. You know, we all have boundaries. Respecting my property. I love the mutual respect. Give back the energy that I give back.
Exactly.
Give back the energy, give back the energy I get. And I expect someone, in cases for sure, like greeting. Why would I greet you and you keep mum? Why would you? Like, give back the respect. Yeah, basically, but I'm a simple person. I like simple things. I can be childish a bit, laugh, and I love laughing a lot.
Well, that's the wow.
Yeah.
And those are the youth actually.
Yeah.
So, but I would say I'm a calm, collected person.
Okay.
I take things the way they come in. I'm a friendly person. I love my friends being happy actually. I like we roll together, we die together, and we should be happy and succeeding in life. I'm a friendly person actually. You know that I do. I'm always like the people we meet in this world are the people that make us who we are.
Yeah.
So I'm always like these people, the youth who are always with us. Yeah, so I'm a principled person actually. I like my things done in particular ways to say, but I'm chill. That's to say precisely. I'm chill.
Okay, you're chill.
I'm
But
chill.
by the way, I saved on his phone like his number, Moses Chill guy. And the first time I met you, like, I knew you should.
Exactly. That's precisely. So, guys, actually, let's talk about this. We drifted a little bit away from our courses and from who we are by our names. Let's talk about you guys, ladies. You're doing quantitative economics and my career.
Yeah.
Okay, so
guys.
what really took you to do this particular course, quantitative economics?
Quantitative economics? Well, I think I can trace that back to my A-level.
Okay.
I went to A-level thinking I want to be an engineer, and damn, I did that PEM. So in the middle of the way, I felt like I was clicking more with the economics. When you relate to real life, you see that economics is all, it relates with when you're going to a shop, when you're broke. It really relates when you're broke, even when you have the money. So I felt like, economics is something I can do. And in the books, it came out really well for me. I think it was my best done subject in all. Yeah, so I was like, I'm taking a course in economics. And that period of filling in the job forms, is it job,
whatever?
Yeah, in that period of taking on, filling the forms, I was like, I'm doing something in economics. I was like, okay, there is arts in economics and science in economics. Science in economics had the math, the computer science. I was like, this is my course. And then it was my first choice. I didn't get the government. Sometimes you just feel it just for sure. So when I was feeling the private sponsorship at Macquarie, I looked for my science in economics. And guess what? It wasn't there. So Macquarie sometimes cuts off courses, and it was one of the courses that is cut off. And the reason they were giving is that it was similar to quantitative economics. And in my research, it really wasn't. I didn't see the difference. Have you ever tried to get a difference between something and you don't see it?
Yeah.
It's that. You can also search and see. You can search about science and economics and quantitative economics. So, quantitative economics was my first choice, and I got it. And I love it. I click,
Wow.
Okay. Actually, she's really saying most of the stuff. So I'm wondering, so let's say the passion, the pressure, the curiosity, what got you doing it, quantitative economics? What got you doing it?
I'll digress from majority.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that there was a course called quantitative economics. Yeah, and I was shocked equally when I realized they had given me this course. So for me, applying for job forms, I don't remember actually the courses I applied to. But I don't know if it was there. Honestly, I don't know.
You don't remember?
Yeah, I don't remember, but I got government, and the course, when I checked, the course they had given me, it was quantitative economics.
And you're like, damn, what's this?
What's this? What am I going to do? But I love econ, so I'm like, as long as there's that economics part, I'll do. And here I am, and it's a very good course. A very wonderful course.
That's excellent. So, guys, as people getting to know the people on this show, you guys have done economics. Let this be like a question to you. With the outlook of our economy in Uganda, when you look at it, what really picks up your mind and you're like, this particular part here in the economy, it's really perturbing my mind, even though I'm doing quantitative economics at Macquarie. What really picks your mind there?
Okay. So I would say this issue is even closer to my heart. Generally, it has always been closer to my heart. Unemployment. Unemployment, especially among the youth. It's such a sad reality that even when you come to campus, they tell you, oh, so many people have degrees, but they don't have jobs. So like, you shouldn't, that you're studying.
Don't boss around.
Exactly, don't boss around that you're getting a bachelor's. But it shouldn't be like that. I'm of the view that once you get your degree, the government should at least do something. You should get something to do. At least a job, Banange. Do you know, like these years, these courses are really hard. And you struggle for all those years. You reach there, tempo struggle with GVG. They want a bunch of skills, experience. You're just graduating. So unemployment, really, working experience. Such an issue.
Okay, so that point as an economist, I would also ask Maju, what really got you as an economic student? What's really got you, like, in correspondence with the economy in our country? What's that touching issue that's got you, seriously?
Well, I won't say it's an economic issue. All economies have their issues. Even America, that has an economy that we refer to as a good one, has its issues. Yeah, it does. To me, my problem is with the sensitization of economic policies, those things they put out, the taxes, like they don't sensitize people enough. I feel like people are working in propaganda. They are basing on propaganda. I find someone, the policy is really good. It's going to help businesses. It's going to help, but the person doesn't know how it's going to help, what it means, what package it comes with. And you find people, like maybe you're in a taxi park, you hear people talking about something in a really negative way, based on propaganda, putting in politics, things like that. Yet it's something I think as economists and people out there, those people making policies, the statisticians putting out the numbers, do you know that the numbers are out there but people don't know how to use them? Yet they are very, very useful. If you get a number like people who are engaging in industry maybe are 54%, you can know like what market am I targeting, what market share do I get, things like that. And I think it's not so out, it's not given the hype it should have, it's not even actually hype, it's not given the importance it has. So I feel like people should sensitize, let people know how to use that information. That is how our Uganda is going to move on. So you're going to pass tax, someone doesn't know what the tax is, and I'm going to come here with I'm a boda guy, I'm going to tell you washa ezo sente zigenda kuyamba abali mu bufuzi. Yet that money, it's okay, there are issues, but then money is necessary. You have to give back to your economy for your economy to grow. I feel like for me, I feel like that is what is lacking. It's lacking really a lot in our Uganda, really, really lacking.
Also now, what she's saying, you see this sovereignty bill. Who knows what the sovereignty bill is among us?
Actually,
a few people know about it. All I know is that they are limiting the international people, the foreigners, the money coming in.
They're watching the remittances from abroad closely. How about you? They're watching the remittances from abroad closely. But actually, when you look at that sovereignty bill, they're looking at the NGOs. They're targeting those NGOs seriously. The privately owned NGOs that are looking for where they're getting the funding from. But let's not go to politics, people.
Let's not
let's talk about the youth now. I have a personal question for each. Let me start with Ark here. So Ark, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Wow, where do I see myself in the next 5 years? Yeah. To be honest, I see myself so far, very far. Like I can't even put a limit to where I will be. But I know in 5 years I would have achieved like 50% of my goals. I'll share those later, but
it's okay. Yeah. So far, 50% of the goals.
50% of the goals.
Understand. Maju, so actually when we get back to you now, I would like to know what keeps you moving each and every single day of your life. What inspires you? What's that push?
What keeps me moving? It's my past. When I look at the moments where I felt like, hey, I'm done, I've failed, in a few moments I'm gonna break down, and I'm a believer. I'm a believer. I love God, and I always pray about most of my issues. I'm not so prayerful, and I'm looking to working at that. My prayerful life is a bit down, but I believe it works because whenever I pray, put my things in prayer, my issues, whatever is disturbing me, God comes through, and I really appreciate that. So whenever I look at my past, what I've been through, how far I've come, and now I'm at Makere, the great hill, the mighty hill. Being here and pursuing the course that I love is something really good. So no matter the situation that comes, no matter how hard it is, no matter how sudden it is, whenever I think that I've been through more than this, I keep pushing. I know I will reach where I'm going.
Wow, so
the guy.
The guy. Well, a few people I would say know your course, which is actuarial science.
Yes.
So, please tell us about your course.
So, I do actuarial science, and it's how I got to learn about the course actually. You reach out and you wonder which job market you're going to fall into at some point, how to make money. I would say people know statistics, all that. Now there's actuarial science. When you're out there on the road, simple basic example, like I always tell my friends, each and every single vehicle that walks out on the road or that is out there on the road rolling is insured. And which people carry out that job? They are the people who study actuarial science and analytics. We do a lot of that actually in the course, and it's quite interesting, it's refreshing. I was telling Madison when we were engaging earlier, and we were talking about Bahamas.
Bahamas. The name sounds really good.
The Bahamas.
The Bahamas.
Yeah.
The home of actuarial science. So, like actuarial science out there to the world, besides in Africa, Uganda is the rate at which it's covering actuarial science. The rate is very low, and I'm very lucky. I'm here doing actuarial science because my career is the only institution in the country, institution that is lecturing actuarial science, that is teaching actuarial science. So we mainly deal with making you feel comfortable in a problem. You know, problems are inevitable. They're inevitable and uncomfortable situations. But the course we do is there to make people feel comfortable in a problem. That's what we precisely do. You look at the hospitals, whether people are falling sick. How do you make people feel comfortable even when they are when they've lost their loved ones or when they're falling sick? How do you make them feel comfortable? That's why we come in. We're not the doctors, we're not the what. We just look at the analytics of how do we make that person feel comfortable, because we are on this earth. You lost someone, but we're still home.
Moses, I feel like you've answered what I wanted to ask. Oh my God. What do I do?
Okay.
Let me ask it anyway.
Okay.
To someone who has never heard of actuarial science, doesn't know about insurance or anything, how do you explain actuarial science to someone who has never heard it? To a kid, let me say, 3-year-old, curious about, Uncle Moses, what do you do? You go to school, what do you do there? How do you tell the kid what you do? And to people out there who think insurance is a scam, who feel like they don't get the money they should, what do you have to say about that?
So, first and foremost, like I mentioned earlier, we all can be in problems. I always take a scenario of a family. Father, 2 children and a wife. You know, to feel comfortable in a problem, you've studied a little bit. To feel comfortable in a problem, you take yourself in a scenario like, the husband is paying insurance for his wife for a particular period of time. When you pay insurance, what we call, when someone pays for insurance, they pay the premium for a particular policy that they've got into. So when they pay for that, and they take on that, the insurance company will be able to cover for that particular issue, or for that particular loss at a particular time. So I take it in a way that the husband has insured or paid medical premium for the wife and for 2 children. So Majo was saying that whether people say insurance companies don't pay. So year 1, the children do not fall sick. The husband has been paying premium for the medical insurance. Children don't fall sick, and year 2 is continues paying premium of about, let's say, 900,000 per year, and the children still don't fall sick. And it's like, you know what, in year 3 I'm not doing that. Let me not pay for premium. Let me not take on medical insurance. So then just imagine a situation where you're like, let me not pay for this, and then that year 3 the children fall sick. Let's say they're in boarding school and they fall sick. And then, at the same extent, the wife is expecting. You stopped all those policies, and you're in that situation. Remember, you're paying about 900,000 per year, per premium per child, and also, let's say, 1 million shillings for the wife to cover the medical expenses. Now you come to 3rd year, and oh my good Lord, all those expenses are on me at that particular moment.
Yeah, they come at that moment.
They come at that particular moment. I'll go back to the issue and I'll say, insurance is there to make you feel comfortable in a problem. Problems are not comfortable situations. And so that situation makes you feel uncomfortable. Where are you going to get the money from? The children are sick. The wife is like, that's this particular situation. So that's when the insurance company comes in. The insurance company will help you, or the insurance company will carve a blanket around that burning person to calm him down a little bit. You know what? You've been paying your policy, paying premium on time, and everything is okay. Your policy is active, so they cover for you medical bills. So we don't take risks on life. That's why the larger extent of larger percentage of insurance is the medical insurance percentage. People insure more on the medical side compared to any other things. You not find percentages are very low. People insuring their houses against particular things. You'll be like, how can I insure my house against fire? Yet year in, year out, there is no fire outbreak. But when it comes to matters of health, you don't play with those. And hey, insurance is diverse. We've got we've got different policies. You hear various companies having various policies. You hear ICELI on having a policy of travel insurance, and they're like, you know what? To plan your travel, just save with us. So you save with the insurance policy, and guess what it does? When you reach that time of traveling, they're covering for you all your expenses. It's just that, the saving habit comes in also at that particular moment, because what insurance companies do, they work as mini saving banks. You put in some money at a particular time, and it comes out. You're like, after some period of time, you get a particular percentage, and with interest. So they call them annuities, and they're paid a particular period of time. But yeah, insurance companies, they're there to make you feel comfortable when you're in a problem.
Wow. Thank you for
I'm
that.
playing big on the travel insurance.
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
I also didn't know about that.
Yeah.
So everyone out there should play big on getting an insurance. It's nice.
So Moses,
Yes, please.
I am Uganda. Please let us know. Like I've had this question for a long time. I am Uganda.
So, first of all, I'm Ugandan and I'm a proud Ugandan. I would say that. I'm not a Muganda. I'm a Musoga.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
cool.
so I'm from when you cross the Nile, I'm from Jinja. That's my heritage. I'm proud. I'm very proud. Very proud actually from the people of Musoga. Shout out. And actually, I don't usually, there are particular topics I don't usually talk about so much, but I'm very proud about them. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I'm satisfied with the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, this question is directed to both of you. What does being tempered mean to you?
Okay.
Being tempered. Discipline. Not the discipline of having manners, kneeling down to someone, Okay, greeting is nice. I don't play big on kneeling down. I really have a problem with it, and it has brought trouble with
Uganda? Are you Uganda?
No, I'm not a Muganda. I'm actually not a Muganda. It's my mom who is a Muganda.
I think you're Uganda.
This is the problem.
My Uganda is so nice, so nice. My Uganda is so nice. Well, it's my mom who is a Muganda, and I've grown up in Uganda for most of my time. I did live at my father's place for some 5 years, but the fact that I didn't have anyone to speak the language with made me forget the language. Like, when you don't train your tongue,
Yeah, it forgets.
And it denies you. So I understand my language when you speak, but making sentences is hard. Yeah, I'm not a Muganda, I'm a Mchiga.
I'm not surprised. I did
You're
know.
not?
I did know actually. I did know.
Surprised. I am a Mchiga.
I did know. I continuously tell my friends, besides knowing us by our Christian names, very few of our friends know us by our
heritage,
So
our native names.
That is my heritage, and I appreciate anyone who is ready to teach me my language.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't have anyone to teach it to me. Guys out there, don't blame me. I'm proud of my tribe, but yeah, things happen, life happens. So I was saying the greeting. I don't like kneeling down. It's not that it's bad, but I don't like it. And these days I'm appreciating the fact that I don't do what I don't like.
Okay.
Yeah, but it gets you into trouble with the elderly people, mostly the Baganda. In our tribe, they understand. My dad, I give him a hug. Other people understand, but those elderly people don't understand. So on the discipline, I understand tempered as the discipline. That discipline you have to get when you're pushing something. when you don't know what's coming out, but you still have to push. You guys get me? Like, I want to explain it in a way that
showing up even when you don't feel like.
Yeah, the discipline you have in doing something, the discipline you have in handling someone, the discipline you have in showing up, all those things, and dignity. You know, in this world, in our youth years, a lot of things happen. A lot of pressure, love, enjoying life. Yeah, but the fact that you have to give yourself a limit, yeah, is really nice. Yeah, that's tempered for me.
When tempered came to me, I thought about being grounded, being intentional, and controlling the energy around you. You know, with the youth, we move with the energy, the winds, the energy of the voices, the loud voices that are moving in various directions. So as like tempered, managing and controlling the voices around us to see which particular direction that we'll be going to and that will be benefiting us as the youth in growing and being responsible citizens and people of the country. That's basically it.
Thank you very much for that, Moses. So, yeah.
What pressures do youth face today?
The youth. Actually, when you talk about the youth, more so let's talk about, we can generalize the country here at large. There are so many situations that we go through as the youth. You look at the dynamics, like Akad mentioned earlier, the challenging part of this economy, the unemployment. People do study, they graduate, they reach out there is no work. And there are very many challenges the youth face in their general life. Spiritual guidance.
Yeah.
People like with the youth, we're driven in whatever direction that we go to. You know, different challenges that we face as the youth. When you look at, let me say for example, people who have graduated, they're like Akadast. Why is it difficult for people who have graduated to settle down and do something with their lives, meaningful things about their lives? We're like, we've achieved this, let's go out there and enjoy life as the youth. You know, it's a longer stage of our age as the youth compared to any other stage of life. When you look at where the youth gap is, it's a bigger stage of life compared to any other age bracket. That's why there are very many challenges that we encounter as youth. It's a very big age bracket that we are in, and so there are very many challenges each and every single day that we'll be facing.
Personally, a challenge that youth face, and it's rarely spoken about, I would say it's the mental health. Young people are struggling so much with mental health. You see, and the reason why it's such a challenge, they don't talk about it. There is that stigma that comes with having mental health struggles, and people think that mental health struggles are only faced by people in Butabika. They're the only ones who are struggling with their mental health, but no, it comes in so many ways, depression and all those formats of mental health.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's rarely spoken about and young people face it,
It
needs to be addressed.
It's a very big one, actually. It's a very big one.
I would also say this about the pressures. At first I didn't appreciate the fact that peer pressure exists. I was like, hey damn, how do I get influenced? But right now, now that it's a free world, because you know when you're at school, high school, you're in the fences,
Yeah.
you're protected. So now that it's a free world, campus is a free world.
Sure.
You choose to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And no one has a hand on you. So I feel like peer pressure is one good thing, and you have to learn as youth. You have to learn how to put a limit to yourself, and it's not easy, not really easy. So peer pressure is really a pressure. Yeah.
So I would like to ask, I'll direct this question to all of us. Do you think suffering is necessary for growth, or can you grow without necessarily going through hardships?
You know, there's that trend that's going around, and they're like, people, there's no reward for suffering. There's no reward for suffering. So there's no reward for suffering. The only person who was rewarded for suffering was Jesus Christ, and he suffered for us. That's what. So, but do we have to first suffer before we achieve, or do we have to first suffer before we get to the happy part? Now, that's it's a mind-blowing question. Do you have to suffer? Now, me, like people know, the risk assessor. I'm like, really? I don't think you need to suffer. I don't think you need to suffer. That takes you to another thing. If there's a shorter path, take it. Take the shorter path.
Guys, don't take the dangerous short path.
Okay. But we ensure it. But practically as a youth, we've got to see what people go through. You know, it keeps us wondering whether our parents, at what particular stage they've grown up and they're managing. You know, I look at the scenario and I just imagine it, you have money with you and you reach to some extent and you're like, I wanted to go and enjoy and buy something nice with my money. But you look at the considering part about our parents, where they forego particular things to facilitate you at school, to facilitate you in particular things. So that's you foregoing spending that money on a particular thing. That's the suffering, the small suffering that you're going to do. But you're suffering to save that money for a particular reason in the future. It's a saving habit that will be helping us as the youth. There are various things, so you take on a little bit of that. Don't call it suffering. I don't think it should be suffering. It's sacrifice. It should be sacrifice to me. You take it on, then they're like, what? Let me forego something in order to, or let me forego my sleep to read in order to excel. So you forego your sleep for some time. You take on your books and you read in order to excel at your academics. So that's what I would phrase it in that particular. I don't think it should be suffering. It should be sacrifice. Yeah. What you sacrifice, then you take on something else in order to achieve a bigger goal.
Well, me, I would say suffering or struggle. Can I say struggle?
Struggle and suffering, I would like us to use them concurrently, as I said.
Concurrently, but then I would like to put it to struggle, to a bit refrain from suffering. Like, I feel struggle is part of life. You know, we have different ways we struggle, and you shouldn't try to compare your struggling with someone else's struggling. I may be struggling with my academics, you're struggling with your finances, maybe struggling with my mental health, my inner self, my faith, we all have different struggles, different angles. So you should know what you're struggling with, embrace it, because I think struggle is part of life. You should embrace, know how you're going to go through it, how you're going to overcome it. If you can't overcome it, how are you going to live with it? How are you going to balance it? If you need help, look for help. But I think struggle is part of life. We all have different, just like we all have different angles of struggle. Yeah, that's it.
Oh wow. Okay. That's both of you have these different POVs. And now, how I would like to view it, for me, I'm going to stick to suffering, and for growth, suffering is necessary. I'd like us to take an example of Job in the Bible. See, Job went through a lot, and Job thought he was righteous. I would like to say that Job was self-righteous. He thought like he was perfect, like there is nothing that was absolutely wrong with him. But in that stage of suffering, Job learned a lot. He got to know a lot about God and his purpose, him as a person. Because at the end, if you read, Job ended with his words, and they have carried me through, because I look at life through Job's POV sometimes, because ups and downs. And Job said that the fear of the Lord, that is understanding. Because if you look at it, Job at first, he was quarreling with God. He was quarreling with God. But if Job at the end said that to be understanding, you need fear the Lord, that suffering created a character in him. It shaped and carved in him a path that came to the full understanding of God. So even in life, even if I take out the fact of God, I feel like when you suffer, even through like pain or anything, it shapes in you something formidable that cannot easily be destroyed. Talk about cancer people who have survived. If you talk to a cancer survivor, you can marvel at how wonderfully their mind is formed right now, because they went through that phase. Yes, if it's inevitable, then you have to embrace it. But in case it comes, you shouldn't. It's a part of growth.
Shouldn't break you.
I have a short question and a very simple one on that. Maybe let it be yes or no. Does all suffering lead to reward?
No. No.
Precisely.
That is where that part you said comes in. That no one rewards your suffering.
Yeah.
Some suffering isn't worth it.
Okay, so let's see. To us here, let's can you share a moment that has shaped you in your life? One that has like seriously changed your life and the way you see the perspective of things. That moment that where you're like, you know what, this moment seriously has shaped and defined my life, the way I look at things and how I've grown to who I am right now.
How I've grown. The moment that forced me to grow, is my parents' breakup. I'm not the first child, nor the last. I'm a middle child. We are 5, I'm the 3rd. But I guess, I don't know how it came about, but all the aftermath from that breakup came to me. So I had to deal with insecurities from both my parents. I think they had a lot of expectations in me. I think, as they say their stories, I was a sharp child, so they grew to love me. So each of them expected me to support their side, of which I thought their issues are their issues and I shouldn't take side. So the fact that I continued talking to both my parents created insecurity in them about me. So I've had to grow up independent. Your thoughts are your thoughts, you have to keep them somewhere. You don't have, with our parents, the generation of parents that is happening now is not the generation of parents that our parents are. Yeah. So you can't speak your mind freely. So I think that breakup forced me to grow up, nature up, own up to your choices, and the fact that I didn't have space to talk.
Form 6 really did something to me. I remember that I read hard. I really did. Like, I read hard. I remember one time it was 3 a.m. in the morning, and I had to go to take a shower, and it was so cold, very cold, freezing cold. But I showered with this motivation. I'm like, I'm doing this for the last time.
Okay. That's real motivation.
Yeah, and it built in me a character of, this is the last time you do it, so do it anyway. Okay. Wake up early anyway. Do it anyway. This is the last time you have to do it.
What's the worst thing that can happen?
Exactly. What's the worst thing that can happen? And once you achieve, you've achieved.
Okay.
It came out.
Okay.
So that's one moment. Form 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moses, you shouldn't skip on this one. What's your moment?
Yeah.
So my moment, actually, people don't really know, but I've been in boarding school since primary school. So from my past time in primary school, I've been in primary school for all my education careers, and it's really shaped me. Yeah, that's why I'm for my friends. We live in these moments, and I always tell my friends that I usually don't cancel appointments and I usually don't cancel engagements unless something is very serious, like it's in the creator's hands. But one visitation, I remember my parents not showing up, and I'm waiting for them, and I'm that moment when parents have to come with grab and carry, but then they don't show up.
Yeah.
My dad calling, like, I've been busy, Moses, I'm very sorry. My mom is like, oh, I'm very sorry, I had to go and my friends had some engagement, something like that. And usually at home, what we usually did, before when our circulars used to come out, I would even mark on the calendar, because at home we have a calendar. You mark and you're like, this is my visitation day, so that you don't forget. The parents don't forget. You even put a reminder in their phones. You're like, they shouldn't forget this day. But then they didn't show up that day. But then my friends are like, Moses wasn't visited today. You know what? They get me grab serious, like guys are giving me grab. So actually I'm worried for my friends. Like I'm like people who are my friends, I'm worried for them.
Yeah.
For that's why people who are very close to me are like you're worried for them. So I'm worried for my friends. That's it. That shaped me serious, and I'm always like, don't cancel engagements. It usually affects the people who you're raising.
Yeah.
Like, at that young age, it's very frustrating. Yeah. So it's your friends who are there for you, besides your friends, and so I hold on to my friends a lot, and I'm like, yeah, it's really that basically. That moment really refined me, and I'm like, you know what? Grow up with your friends, hold on to them, and be very supportive to them.
Wow, that's such a beautiful way to define friendship.
Exactly.
Yeah, friendship.
Yeah.
I'll tell it as friendship, and he really does. He's a solid one.
He shows up.
He's yeah. Honored.
Yeah. TYC.
Yeah.
TYC.
Let's talk about why we are starting the
TYC.
Youth
Tempered Youth Collective.
Yeah.
I will list TYC a lot because I like the short form.
The short
It really
form.
sounds nice.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah,
It does.
Why are we starting TYC?
So why are we starting the Tempered Youth Collective? We are starting TYC to create a space for young people, most especially, but even anyone. It's not like in a box that is only young people, but we mostly want a space where young people can learn growth without losing themselves in the process. It's a space where we are going to be exploring what it means to be intentional in a world that rewards noise, speed, and performance. In this space, becoming matters more than appearance.
Yeah. Sure, it does.
It does. And we just want a generation where young people are rooted instead of just reactive. They move wisely, think deeply, and are more intentional with whatever they do. You know, they are not lost, but rather being formed with purpose. So I would say that's why we are starting TYC.
Moses, who are we speaking to?
So, TYC, like my friends have been telling you, the youth, we've got you covered. That's the first thing. But then, we're getting broader. TYC, we are speaking to the youth and for particular people who give examples to the youth. You know, the youth have got different role models they look up to.
Yeah.
But how do you shape the youth of this generation? That's the reason as to why we're shooting this. You know, back then I don't think they would be having this, maybe sitting around the fire and talking to the youth. But now we've got you to reach out to the youth in different ways.
Yeah.
How do we reach out to the youth? They're holding different gadgets in their hands, they're doing that, they're looking at very large screens, and there's no other way to reach out to the youth other than this. And we're really happy to all the people like who've been very supportive to the youth, and we hope we had a voice to that.
Yeah.
And our voice really makes a very huge impact to this world.
We hope we have a voice to that. The conversations we want to have. We want to talk to someone who feels like they want to achieve, but they are uncertain about what and how they are going to achieve it. We want to talk about that inner struggle you're having, that emotional breakdown you have within the journey of your success or whatever you're chasing. We want to talk about faith and ambition. Do you think faith and ambition can work together? Do you think faith downplays ambition? Is it right for faith to downplay ambition? Or do we take them together? Or do we abandon faith and take the ambition? Yes. We want to talk to someone out there who is struggling with that mental health, who is struggling with
Purpose. Yeah.
Intentionality, who is struggling with discipline. By the way, it's hard to build discipline. It's really hard. You have to work on it. And I think everyone who thinks this podcast will speak to you, please tune in whenever you can, wherever you are, because we are on your gadgets. Please do.
Yes. Another factor that we would like to have conversations about community. you know, we are growing up in a generation where isolation is easier than keeping in touch. So also we shall also be having conversations of the very important role community plays in all our lives.
It does play a role
in all our lives, and yes, that would be it.
That's TYC for you, and we have you covered. We want you to get to know, apart from when you're driving with life, you know that life can drive you and you fall to the side of life, you end up losing yourself. So we want to talk about all that.
Actually, now to the youth and to the people who do inspire you, like I've been saying, we've got to talk about various topics and share various experiences. Actually, there is no problem. Like the people who have been telling you, we'll be having various people we're talking to, sharing with people, sharing with the community out there, the general community out there, and these voices here will be shaping how you view things. Like we've interacted with different questions and we have different perspectives of different things. So let's get different ideas and bring them together for you, the people out there, TYC.
So thank you very much for tuning in. You know, we know you have a tight schedule, we know you have so many things to do, but please, every Friday we shall be dropping a new episode, and we shall put a description of our email in our bio on YouTube. So in case you want to reach out for anything, please feel free to let us know. And on YouTube it's Tempered Youth Collective, Instagram Tempered Youth Collective, TikTok Tempered Youth Collective, or you can just search TYC. I'm pretty sure TYC will also bring something up. We want to have these conversations with you. We want to grow with you. We want to learn with you. We are not sitting here as experts. We are sitting here as fellow students, fellow youth, fellow young people, fellow-minded people. So please, let us grow with you.
And we really appreciate your feedback.
Yeah, we really appreciate your feedback. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Hi, I want to close before I ask you my question.
Okay.
You too.
Yes, please.
If your life was a title, what would the title be?
Well, precisely. Risk, trust.
If my life was a title, I think it would be Proof of a Loving God. Yeah. How about yours?
Mine would be Majo. You know, apart from Marie, I'm called Marjorie, and I'm used to calling me Majo. So my life would be Majo. I feel like
You need a biography?
it's what can define me best.
Your soul.
My soul. Yeah, that's what I feel. Do you have any? You don't feel curious about anything?
Actually, let's look out for the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're enjoying it. We've got a lot
Please
to
tune
cover.
in for more.
Tune in.
Tune in for more.